Well, good afternoon and good morning, depending on where you're at. I'm glad to have everybody here. My name is John Kenny with Cotney Attorneys and Consultants, and today I have the honor of our guest being on here for our Affinity Partner webinar. We're going to be covering creating brand ambassadors, and I'm happy to welcome Heidi here with Roofers Coffee Shop. Heidi Ellsworth, how are you today?
I am great, John. Thank you for having me. I love these affinity webinars and I love our conversation. I'm really excited.
Me too. For anybody that's on here now, this is going to be a really good one. Growing brand ambassadors. This is a topic that you do not want to miss, and you're going to get a lot out of it to take back to your companies with you.
So, John, brand ambassadors really is, I am passionate about it and have been for a really long time because, we go through all these marketing trends and marketing's up and down and you got to do it this way this time and that way that time. But really, at the core of a really successful business is when the employees understand the marketing vision and the sales vision of the company and they're ambassadors of that. To me, those are the companies that truly succeed.
Absolutely. Heidi, brand ambassadors, I don't think people really understand that you are, no matter what you spend on marketing, advertising, your vision, mission statement, if your employees do not understand what your mission and vision is, you don't have any brand ambassadoring. Because, interesting side story on this. So, on the consulting side, we talk to a lot of different businesses out there. And even in general, I like to do this when I meet somebody. We talk to their employees. The first thing I ask them is like, okay, so what is your company all about? Oh, we're the best roofer. We work for this one, we do that. So no, what is the vision and mission of your company? Now, sell me on why I should use X, Y, Z.
Right.
And they're like, they're lost. And that's a horrible thing because that's your brand ambassadors, which are your salespeople.
Right. And, I don't think people think about all the little league games you sat at, think about all of, the football, whatever, wherever you're going, concerts, and you're sitting there, you're visiting with your local community, and they're like, oh, you're in roofing? Oh, I need a roof, or my neighbor needs a roof. What does your company do? Do they do that? And if your employees don't know how to talk about what you do, I mean, you might be a big commercial roofing contractor and they're selling somebody there to use you for a residential home. The employees need to know so that they can be that ambassador, talk to their neighbors, their friends, their family, bring in more customers.
Absolutely. No, quick example. This is just an example of brand right? Brand ambassador. If you're a greatest company, you do this, but let's say your passion in your company is you give back to the local community, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure your employees know this and they participate in it. So that question comes up. You're at that soccer game or football game. Somebody says, oh, yeah, XYZ roofing. Yeah, I have a building. I need a roof. And you say, yeah, you know what? We do great. But you know what? We're really good at giving back. We do this charity roof. We do that. Guess what that person's going to remember? He's going to remember the awesome company for what you do, not just putting roofs down. That's why it's so important.
Exactly. And, I think also, as we talk about brand ambassadors, one of the things that I've seen over the years in sales and marketing, having been on both sides, is if you aren't communicating your marketing message to your sales team or to your front office or to your operations, they're going to make up their own messaging. And it may not be what you want. I've seen salespeople make their own brochures. I've seen them, kind of want to sell their own type of products because leadership marketing hasn't really sat down and said, okay, this is our vision, and get buy-in, because that's a big part of it too. You can't just tell them, you need to have that buy-in.
And sometimes simple is best. You don't have to write a complicated vision and mission statement. Keep it simple, but brand what you say you're going to be.
Right, right. And I think, as we look at that topic, it's all about investment in your employees.
Absolutely, Heidi. Everyone's heard this, but this is a great thing to start this out with: investment in your team, right? I've had people come to me, and you've heard this, and great people have said it. Well, why am I going to spend money training? What if they leave? Well, what you need to look at is if you don't train them, what if they stay, right? You need to invest in your team. And I always, especially now, people leave. Everyone out there has to understand that people leave for various reasons.
Right.
Whether they want to advance their career to something that you might not do, don't base your decision of investment on that. Base your investment is that if nothing else, you're creating a better environment for your other team, better environment for that person you're training. And if they go somewhere else, well, by God, you're training somebody to do better in the industry, which makes everything better. You have to
Makes
look
the
at it
industry
that way.
better.
You've got to wrap it all together.
Yeah, and because we're talking on the last slide about really that communication for brand ambassadors, and to really create brand ambassadors. It is so important to have good communications, and really from your leadership and from your marketing team. But when we're looking at this with investment into your employees, think about what that, again, let's go back to that football game, and the employees are saying, they're talking about how much they love working for their company because they've been trained, they've had education, they are included, respected. That almost carries more than anything else, that they love their company and they're sharing that in the community.
Absolutely. You have to invest in your people. You have to invest in yourself. A lot of people who own businesses don't realize that you need to invest in yourself as well. You can never spend enough time learning something that you did not know that you can pass down to other people in there. So again, this all ties into what's your vision, your mission, ongoing training. That could be part of your mission and vision statement. We want to have the most best trained, educated workforce. Another thing, I know we'll get into these deeper, but I've always said, when somebody said to me, how good are you? How good is your company? And and you say internally, well, I'm only as good as the worst person that I have on my team, because if someone's going to remember me, it will be remembered for the worst thing that we did, right? So that's why you have to invest in your people. You need to get everyone elevated.
You really do. I mean, no matter what size you are, because I mean, Rivers Coffee Shop, we're not a big company. We're pretty mean and lean. And when you look at it, I am taking a number of women to National Women in Roofing Day. I'm taking team members are going to go to classes while they're at IRE. It is there's so many different ways. Online, obviously, is going to be the most economical, but there's also all these great trade shows that are coming back, and investing in your employees to understand the industry, to meet people, to go to educational classes, I think is so important.
Absolutely. And a nice thing about getting your people to go to other classes, they get to hear someone else promote the message besides you.
Yeah.
So they actually retain more when it's not coming from you. Believe it or not, that's what happens. They retain more from someone else saying it. Kind of like being a parent with a child, right?
It's
Child
the
doesn't
exact
listen to
same.
the parent, but when someone else, a friend tells them, oh boy, that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
So it's always good. Invest.
It is. That is so. And as we're talking about those trade shows, or even online groups, much like our club with Roofers Coffee Shop, getting your, so often I think owners think, well, I'm the only one who should be networking, or the salespeople. Only the salespeople really need to network. But the more you help your employees get out, either into the community or into the industry, give back, the happier they're going to be, and the more you're going to get the word out. So really making networking a strong part of anything that you're doing, I think, is essential to creating brand ambassadors.
Yeah, you hit a great point in that. Business owner, I should be the only one out, or maybe my salespeople. But how it really works in the roofing world is your clients have a relationship with either you as the owner or your salespeople, their account managers, right? But what they really care about, if you drill down, is your operations team. They care about who's actually going to do the work for them, who may be coming out to repair the leak. So that's why you want to get your whole team involved in a networking event. Sometimes you can even do it as simple as having something at your own office, right? Invite your clients in, give them a chance to meet the people that are out there, rubber meets the road, getting the work done every day. You're going to find that's going to be an exciting event for your clients, because they get to see who actually is going to make their problems go away. And I recommend it
Yes.
greatly.
Yeah, a great example of that, some excellent networking with customers for a roofing contractor is actually Charles Antis in Antis Roofing out of California. And what they do is they sign up for Habitat for Humanity homes and they take their crews, right? They take an office, everybody from the whole company is involved, but they also invite their customers. So they invite their customers to come and work right next to them with a hammer on a Habitat for Humanity house. And to me, that's just like brilliant, because all of a sudden now you're building that relationship as you're building something for somebody in need. Your crews are getting to meet the customers more than just that showing up on the job and working on the job. They're really kind of connecting. And so there's a lot of different ways to do that, I think.
Agreed. And another way of tagging onto that, it goes back to investing in your employees, right? The employees that gets a chance to be involved in a networking event, they appreciate it very much because they're not usually involved in that. So again, you're opening up your team to new experiences and you're investing, which only builds your brand even better.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that right now because we are taking a pretty large number of Roofers Coffee Shop team members to IRE, like I mentioned, and they're going to be meeting with all of our customers, and they're going to be meeting with all of the contractors, and they're going to be going to the events. So I really see that as important. But for those contractors and for other companies out there that are like, there's just no way we can do that right now. Obviously, middle of the summer, we can't get them out. Think about those rain days, right? Think about getting online with these kind of affinity programs or the training that you have, or just networking, kind of looking at what's going on. For example, with the R Club, it's open to all employees of R Club companies, roofing companies. And so there's just a lot of different ways, depending on time, budget, opportunity, to get your employees more involved in the industry and definitely top line involved in your community.
Absolutely. You got to keep everybody involved.
Yeah. And that investment really means training. So let's go a little deeper in that one, John.
So training, that is without a doubt my passion, right? It's always been my passion. Started out in the roofing industry many, many decades ago. And what really drove training to be my passion is I received zero training myself. I was thrown in with the greatest generation, World War II generation, and they really expected you to know what you were doing. That's the way training was. Hey, young man, this is what you got to do. When you get to learn this, I'm not going to teach you, but then you're accepted and you move up in the crew. So I was like, well, that's okay, except you really got, not everybody learns on their own. So at that time, when I first started out, learned what I had to do, learn the trade all different ways, and I moved up into the foreman. So the first thing I did move up the foreman was train somebody to be my lead man because I wanted a right-hand person. I wanted someone that I knew if I had to go to a meeting, had to go somewhere, the crew was going to run, the job was going to go smooth and everything else. Then the next thing we do is start training everyone else on that crew that had the abilities or the desire to become the next lead man, the next foreman, right? Because that's what you want. What happens is people are afraid that, oh, they're going to replace my job. Nope, old school mentality, get that out. You want to get everybody up equal to where you're at. So training, you can't invest enough in training, and I mean this. We have a lot of programs coming out now. We currently have our estimating training out. And Heidi, you'll see next week, we're launching our advanced estimating. We already have our intermediate.
Wow.
And anybody on here too, we have a Spanish version of our intermediate estimating training coming out also by the end of the month. So we're trying to reach the entire marketplace. So a lot of people said, okay, well, what about estimating? It's great for your field personnel to take some of these intermediate estimating training. It teaches them to understand how to be better on the roof. These are why we want to invest, right? So maybe you're not necessarily going to want to make them an estimator or that, but you want to give them the opportunity to learn the skills. Workforce training. I think here in the United States alone, we have tried to solve workforce training for as many years as we've probably been working. Unions had apprenticeship programs, and unions kind of got popular, a little less popular nationwide. they were good. They were a good basis, but it's a 3-year program, which I think in today's society is hard to do. We are
Hmm.
definitely a society that wants to get things done and done further. So these are the things I think we need to continue to work on in our industry. And headline, anybody listening, we are working on a very nice workforce training program to come out at the end of the year for roofing contractors to use in-house to speed things up. So we're working on that now. So I know you probably in the R Club and on Roofers Coffee Shop, you talk to roofers from pretty much around the world now. You're out there big
Yeah.
time. What do you hear back from them on the training aspect?
Well, John, on the training, one of the things that always hits me on this is I've done a lot of speaking on generational learning and on diversity and how are we kind of, obviously looking for more workforce. And all of the studies show with Gen Z and millennials, but especially with Gen Z, they want training, they want mentoring, they want respect, they have definite ideas about what they think. And that is going to help us bring more people into the industry by having this good training. But I also, I loved your comment about when you're talking about estimating training, and then why not take the time to have some of your, rising stars on the roof who are in supervision or project managers or maybe just starting out, have them take these estimating classes, because now they're going to be like, wow, they really think something of me. I'm getting education that is going to help advance my career. That helps with retention. And we all know that we are a very mobile society right now. I mean, we're not keeping people like it used to, it used to be 30, 40 years in one job. Now people, young people and older people, it doesn't matter, are like, oh, well, I'm going to go try that, or I'm going to try this. But if they feel like they're getting the investment of training, that they are actually seeing a career path because of that training, I think it makes all the difference. And that's what we're hearing.
I agree with you 100% on that. Yes, you're correct. There is very few 35 lifers anymore. That's the baby boomer generation running out.
Yeah.
This is not a generational thing. So if you're a Z, you're an X, whatever, this is nothing against it. But it's just every generation is different. And actually, I love that about it. I love that every generation has their own viewpoint, because I know, Heidi, you probably are like me. You remember growing up, your parents and other people above us said, you're the worst generation ever. So that's just normal. That's the way we hear it.
Yeah.
But you brought up a great point. So we're heavily involved in the SHRM, the Human Resource Society. So what studies have shown right now is most people on the younger generations change in jobs between 2 to 5 years. And it is not because they don't really like where they're at. It's they're not being challenged enough. So the key to that, if you're listening to this, the real key is to give them the training to different positions in your company. Even if you're not ready for that position to open up, they will stay because they're being challenged. And that's what the best part of it. I don't look at the younger generation as job hoppers and skippers. I look at them as the generation that wants to be challenged more than the generations before them. And I love that about it.
Yeah, I do too. And I was one of those probably before my time, but I always wanted to be challenged. And if I wasn't, I started looking because I needed a challenge. I had a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit from the very beginning. But I think the other thing too is, I just always come back to this, and we call it roofing respect here, but it's just respect overall. And when you give respect through training, and our next slide, helping people get certified, have those certifications, have the plaque on the wall, those are the kind of things that they're like, my company's behind me, they believe in me. I just think it's so, I love what you're doing on the estimating certification. It's so cool.
Yeah, and you're right. If you're taking it, you want to have the certifications, you want to have the certificates, because if you've taken the time, if I'm going to take a course, you know what? I'm proud of having that certificate. It may not mean a lot to someone outside the field, but the fact that I've, gone and done more training, I'm proud of getting that certificate of completion, right? So we
Right.
took that to the next level. We have actually 2 in estimating. We have a professional. So if you take any one of our estimating courses, when you're complete and you pass the exams, you get a certificate. John Kenny passed so-and-so course, great, right? You got that, you mount that on your wall, you got some pride there.
Yeah.
So the next level is if you've been estimating for up to 2 years, but under 5 years, let's say, so that you fit a couple years on your belt, we came out with a professional certificate. So it's a program you go through. It's not watching training modules. At that point, I'll come in, do an entrance exam. We'll have some things for you to follow, sample estimates. We'll walk you through. When you're done with that, you get a professional certificate. So you now get to distinguish yourself from the rest of the industry. Then on top of that, we wanted to say, well, what's next? Well, what's next? If you have 5 years of experience estimating, we can certify you. You can become a certified professional roofing estimator, CPRE. So that's initials that can go next to your name. That you have to have 5 years experience. You apply for it. You go through our qualifications. And at the end of that, if you pass everything, which we want you to, that's we're going to help you get there, you get a seal and you get a stamp with your name. You get to stamp your documents as you do it.
Wow.
So now here's what I would talk to some of the owners of companies. They're like, that's fantastic. We'll have a professional estimating team. So when we go to market against other companies and they say, well, they're lower price than us, say, well, I don't know what they're doing, but we have a certified professional estimating team. Here's their qualifications. Who's putting their estimates together? Now you got them, again, marketing and branding. So it all kind of ties in very nicely.
It really does, and that I was just going to say the same thing. It totally loops us right back around to brand ambassadors because, and to this next generation, or probably all generations who are using technology. Because when you get that certificate, when you have those letters behind your name and you have a certificate of completion or your certification, you are going to share that with your family. That is such a great thing. There's a sense of pride, and then you're going to share it on your social media. You're going to share it at that football game. Those are the kind of things that really bring great pride to employees, and I just think it's critical for retention for long term. And it's something I'm thinking of all the time. I'm like, okay, what do we need to be doing? How do we get, as you watch people, we just, same kind of along the same lines, we just submitted a number of items for awards, and contractors who take those jobs and put them out for awards, that's another way of showing the pride in their crews, just like I have the pride in my team. And so there's just so much out there, John. It's crazy. And it all goes to culture, right?
Yes, it does.
And you and I both, I love this conversation talking about culture because I work on it all the time. And I know I'm somewhat crazy. And I know, the whole loving the business, loving roofing, and how do you share that passion in a way that makes sense to your team and to the people who are working with you every day. And I think by these things we've been talking about, showing respect, asking questions, getting feedback, building a culture of respect, and also of training and continuing education, like you said before, those create brand ambassadors. And so a lot of it, you kind of think, oh, brand ambassador is this big marketing term, but really it's all about culture.
It is. And you got to take a step back. If you happen to be an owner of a company, you may not be the best culture person for your company, right? And it happens. It could be someone in your HR department. It could be someone in your marketing department. But you have to keep in mind, and I try to take a step back on this all the time. You're going to have, for the most part, at least right now, there is at least 3 generations in the workforce at the same time. So at your company, you can have 3, maybe 4, depending on the total age span of where you're hiring, 3 to 4 generations in your company. One culture will not work for all 4 generations. It just won't. But you can tailor your experience of your company culture to make everyone fit and be happy. That's the key, is tailoring your culture to match what your employee generations are. And you brought it up before, Heidi. Each generation is absolutely different on how they think, what excites them, how much training they want, mentorship. Sometimes it's just a matter. We have one of our attorneys here, and they summer intern, and the reason that they said they picked us over on the attorney side of another firm here in Tampa to work for the summer, was that when they got interviewed, they saw a Nerf gun behind one of our attorneys, and they said, "Oh yeah, we once a month we do like a Nerf gun event," and that's what sold it, right? So who would have
Right.
known that? But that's what I'm saying. It's all about your culture.
It is. It is. And I really love the part, when I think generational too, and I think how you said it at the beginning of this, how people are brought into the industry, how people are brought up onto the roof or into the office or whatever. In our generation, there was a lot of hazing and there was a lot of bullying. And that is something that this next generation does not accept.
No, it
And
doesn't work.
it's not that it doesn't happen, it still does, but they are like not accepting it. And they're not going to go sit there and listen to some baby boomer tell them what to do and harass them and give them a hard time. So retention really comes down to respect and
It does.
that building that culture of respect for all generations and understanding that, some of us older timers may not be as good with technology, but these new young generation are great and put us together, and who knows what we can make happen. So
Exactly. And you brought up a great point. As a baby boomer going through that, I didn't like it. I actually don't think it worked, but we had no choice. So what I like
right.
about it today is there is a choice. So Heidi, what she said, listen, is absolutely correct. It doesn't work. So you want to it's involvement, it's including everybody in, it's getting their ideas. I love when I can have a round table with multiple generations in it. I really do, because
Yeah.
every generation sees a problem or an opportunity just a little bit differently. Not wrong, differently. And when you can take all those differences and funnel them into one solution, that's success, and you will take off with that.
It was, and one last thought on that. I'm just so blessed that we are a family company. We have a lot of family who works in here. And James Ellsworth came on, and speaking of, you were saying sometimes you got to find people to help take that culture to the next level. And he came on as chief of staff. He's a millennial. He's young. He's listening to all our Gen Zs, which we have a lot of, and he listens to us older, Gen Xers, and kind of has really focused on that. And then we have some other folks who we put in charge of happy hours and to make sure that everything. So it's not just the ideas coming from leadership or the management. It's coming from all the people there. So I know we could go on forever on this, John, but I just think it's
I
so
know.
important.
It is very important.
And that, I think, leads to the community, and it leads to the community impact. Really, when you're looking at that, we talked about Antis, I know Cotney, oh my gosh, you guys have our giving back page on Roofer's Coffee Shop. You give so much to the industry all the time. But by empowering your employees to be involved either within the roofing industry or within your community, doing things and getting involved, it makes a huge difference. It creates those brand ambassadors. One of the things we did this last Christmas, because obviously COVID and with Rivers Coffee Shop, we're virtual, we're across the whole country, is I asked everybody, I said, we want to give to your charity. So tell us what your charity is, what you want to do. And some of the people were like, nope, we just already want to give, but we'll let you know who it is. And other people were like, yeah, that's great. And we gave to that charity. So we let everybody kind of find their own comfort zone, because giving is a very personal thing. And those type of things, when you really allow your employees to find that way, I think, and be involved in the community on where they want to give back, makes a huge difference.
Oh, I agree. I know a lot of companies do in community involvement, but it's can be based on what the owner wants to do in community involvement. And organizations have been the same way too, right? So I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that, like an organization, Roofers Association, they're focused. But where this really becomes that ultimate give back and success is what you just said. You want to have community set up, community give back programs in your company, but not one fits all. Allow the
Mm-mm.
choice, because that's going to get everybody involved and they're going to want to do it. That's when the magic happens with the community give back. That's where it's
Yeah.
all at.
And then that's when being a brand ambassador really takes off. because you believe in your company, you've been empowered, you've gotten continuing education, you're encouraged to give back, to be a part of the community, to get involved. And I mean, that, it almost gives me chills. It makes me think about all those people. That's what I always wanted when as an employee. And I think when you build those kind of brand ambassadors, it is one of the best, I'm starting from the very beginning of this webinar, but is the best thing you can do for your marketing program.
Absolutely. And it feels good too. That's the nice thing about it. You will feel good when you get all this working right.
I know. Oh, I just love it. I love it. So, well, John, I know we're coming close to our half hour. Should we talk a little bit about our affinity programs for everybody listening?
Absolutely. And when we get done with that, Heidi, I have some questions that I saw got sent in, and we'll get
awesome.
to those. So if you're on, we got a little bit to do, and then we'll get to your questions. I know I at least saw one come through.
Okay.
So partner, as an affinity partner, I have a lot of people say, well, what is an affinity partner? What's it all about? Well, what that is that's where we've gotten with a select few that have the same vision that we have, right? We're visioned out together, and it really comes down to vision is doing very good things for the entire industry. That's what we're really all about. And this is where this comes in. So a couple things we have on here, like what we do back as an affinity partner to Roofers Coffee Shop, is the R Club subscribers. And I know here in a minute, and I won't get into what the R Club is because Heidi will cover that, but the R Club is, and this is the only part I'll put in there. It is without a doubt the world's largest and greatest peer group of roofing contractors in the industry. So Heidi will talk a little bit about that, but I had to throw that out. So what we do for the R Club members, we give a straight 15% discount off of all of our services, our training, our risk management, legal, whatever that you need that we provide normally at a certain price, you get a 15% discount right off the top. So that's a great value. We'll come out and give you, we'll work with you on a free risk analysis. So that's on the financial side. We'll also work on an operational risk analysis and then help you with your software. So financial gives you an idea where your health of your company is. And on the operational, we're going to give you the view of where your road, your potholes are, where there could be problems or issues that you need to work on. So you get a lot for these free surveys. Technology, what we like to do is everyone has technology of some sort, but most of the time we find out it's not working or meshing correctly together. So we'll help you put all that together, give you some information. And then, we have these complimentary webinars, right? We're doing these, and these are great. We get a lot of people afterwards that go back and watch them. And I know that because I get questions months after we do these, which is fantastic. So that's kind of what we do. So Heidi, tell us a little bit what you got on your side.
Well, first of all, we love having Cotney attorneys and consultants on Roofers Coffee Shop, and this affinity with the consulting side of it. But I have to tell you, this is across the board. Both attorneys and consultants are offering great incentives to the RR Club. And what is the R Club, you may ask? The R Club is like the biggest peer group out there for roofing contractors, anybody. It doesn't matter. This is what we're talking about with brand ambassadors, is that this isn't just for owners. This is for everybody in your company, because there's something for everybody, whether that's networking with, if you have a safety director, they can network with other safety directors. If you have, you want to do continuing education, or you want to have some special perks, it's fun. And at the shows, special gifts for IRE members, or for our club members. So there's so many different things, but what we want to do too is be able to give back to all of the contractors who are working with Cotney Consulting. And so what we do is a discount on the R Club. So in the R Club, you're going to get a full directory. You're going to be able to answer questions for homeowners and building owners on Ask a Roofer. You're going to be able to submit your articles. You can marketing wise, and then Karen Edwards, who is the editor for Roofers Coffee Shop and one of the most talented writers in the industry, will, between Karen and I, we will offer marketing consulting. So just like we did today, pick a topic. What do you want to know about? We'll talk, we'll visit, we'll talk to you about it. And that's all part of being part of the Cotney Consulting Group. We also have 2 books. John also has a book. So we have all these great books flowing around, but those, we also offer those for free. for anybody who fills out our landing page. So you can see that on the bottom of the screen. Just hit that, fill it out, and then let us know what you want to do. Maybe it's a discount for our club, maybe some personal consulting, or the free books, or all of the above. And we do that for everyone who's associated with Cotney.
You cannot miss out on this. This is great stuff. And again, I just want to tag back. It is the greatest peer group ever out there because you get the diversity of so many different roofing contractors, roofing everybody that's involved. So you're getting from the, beginning residential, commercial, green roofing, whatever's out there, they're involved in the Coffee Shop Art Club. You want to get yourself involved.
Yeah,
so
it's
I have two
awesome.
questions.
Okay.
I have questions coming up. So we'll use first names only here. So
Okay.
This one is from Susie. So I think I'll let you take this one if you don't mind, Heidi. The question from Susie is, how can you quantify the success of your brand ambassador? Good question.
Oh, great question. There are things with all the numbers and the data and everything that's out there in marketing. There is a lot of ways to quantify data and results. But with brand ambassadors, part of that is going to be that listening and talking to them, talking to the employees, finding out, are they doing the right messaging, kind of listening in. It's really about listening in when you're with them out in the field, making sure they have the messaging on target. But there are some fun things to do. And one of them is referral prizes. And that can quantify it really easy. So if you have employees who are referring customers who become a customer, give them a gift. Give them a $20 Amazon gift card. And that will allow you to start getting data. That will allow you to see what kind of jobs they're bringing in, the jobs that they're bringing in, because a lot of times they probably won't even tell you that they're talking great about the company and have somebody who called in. But if you have a program in place, then you can really start quantifying it.
No, that's a great answer. I think you took that one to a limit that they really a high limit. I love it. A great answer. So we got one more. We probably both can give a little input on this. So this is from Ben, and Ben's question is, lots of trade shows are coming up. How do you attract potential customers at a promotional event or trade show to showcase your brand? So I guess what Ben's asking is, with all the trade shows coming up, how do you get the most bang for your buck, right? That's really what I believe that the mission of this. So Heidi, why don't you take that first, and then I'll jump in with a little bit at the end.
Yeah, so I'd kind of put that on two levels, right? The first level would be in your community if you're going to home shows, or maybe you're going to, a BOMA show, facility managers, whether you're residential or commercial. The big thing on that is make sure your sales team is on target with that trade show. What's the messaging? What's the giveaway? What's going to happen? That's if your sales team is not on with what's going on, you will miss half of the potential people who could have been there, or meetings set up to talk to them about their future projects. The other thing too is make sure you have it in all of your marketing, right? So if you're doing a home show, make sure it's in your e-news, it's on your blog, it's on your website, make it very prominent. Make sure your front office, whoever's answering the phones, is saying, oh, by the way, we'll be at the home show, you can see us there. There's just so many ways, but again, by using your brand ambassadors, whether it's salespeople or front office, or even, have little cards for the crews to hand to the homeowners and say, hey, why don't you come, if you're going to go to the home show, come by and see us. We really appreciated your business, or pass it off to your friends. That way you are bringing your employees into that promotion for the trade show. On the other side of it is if you are going to industry shows, like maybe you're going to the Colorado Roofing Contractor Roofing Association, or you're going to the International Roofing Expo in Vegas. Be sure that your team is on par with your messaging. Whoever you're taking there, that they have appointments to meet with manufacturers and distributors, because it's just as important to build those relationships within the industry and with manufacturers and distributors and technology companies and publications. Like, everybody should come by the Roofers Coffee Shop booth and go by Cotney booth, because they need to be on target about what you are trying to accomplish at that trade show. A lot of times people kind of get caught up in just the fun, and it is fun, but there's a reason you're there. It's a business opportunity.
That's a great answer. I'm going to take it from a little bit other side of this to kind of round it out. So Ben, I'm going to take this from the assumption that you're not going to display. You're going to go to any one of these shows, and you can't go to all of them, but we'll assume when you have one in a local or you go to a larger national, you want to take some of your team with you, right? And you don't want to just take the top-notch brass of your company to the show. And I will tell you, if you got a local show that doesn't involve a lot of travel, make sure you get some of your field employees involved in this. Get them to go to a seminar or one of these learning events. A lot of the shows have stuff on the floor where you can learn. Introduce them, walk them around, and most importantly, when you have your team group together, either take them out to breakfast, take them out to lunch, or take them out to dinner when the day's over. What a better way to bond with your team to get to review what they've learned, what they saw they liked, what you're doing well at the company, what you could be doing better. You've now got that buy-in and everybody had fun. I will tell you, I know from my aspect, and I got to go back quite a few decades, but when I first attended these shows as a younger man in the industry, I was super excited. I was like, wow, I'm going from the roof to the national show. It was like kind of going to a Hollywood premiere is the way it felt to me at the time, right? I guarantee you, your staff is going, your team's going to feel the same way because they're at the pinnacle of their industry event. So you want to do it, involve them. But like I said, more importantly, make sure you go out to dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever, tie it into a food, chance to chat with the team. And I think you'll be successful in introducing them around.
Yeah, great question.
So I think that's, we're about out of time. So I think we covered everything. So in closing, again, Affinity Partnership is Cotney Attorneys and Consultants, Roofer's Coffee Shop. You contact us. My contact information, you can get me at email, is always the best. It's jkenny@cotneycl.com. Happy if you just have a question. Happy if you just want to say hello. We're here. Heidi, how's the best way for them to get through to you?
Heidi@rooferscoffeeshop.com. That's easy. And I encourage everyone to visit rooferscoffeeshop.com. There's so much information on there, so many great things. It's a great place to start providing continuing education for your team. So, and Karen, our editor, is always available too.
They need to visit that site and sign up and start being a part of the fun in the industry.
Yes, yes. Join the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming to the end. I want to thank everybody for being on here today. And hopefully, I feel you should have gotten some pretty good perspectives and some ideas to take back. And I know I look forward. We're going to be at all the shows, so we'll see you at one of them coming up. We have FRSA here in the local Florida show, state show coming up in July, which is only a few weeks away. Then IRE in August, and Western States, I believe, is in September. So we'll catch you at one of those and more to come. And Heidi, I can't thank you enough. It was great having you with us today and really enjoyed doing the webinar with you.
Thank you, John. I love it. And I can't wait till the next one. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Have a great day.